Back here talking NBA Finals with Chris Mannix. Klay Thompson, who missed Game 3, will play Game 4. Kevin Durant, who missed the last 8 games, will not play Game 4. Steve Kerr said there is a good chance KD will play in Game 5 or 6. Klay Thompson spoke about what it would mean if KD were to miss the Finals entirely.
Well, it would suck if Kevin can't come back. I mean, I still think we'd have a good chance to win the Finals, but obviously that takes a huge hit. I don't think it would make us the clear-cut favorite anymore without him. You know, this team's very good.
We just love the candor of the Golden State Warriors. Like, as a team, like, they just sort of say,
from Klay.
Whatever.
But Draymond always
too.
candid. Steph is usually pretty candid, too. I love that team. Like,
Kerr is as well.
Yeah.
Kerr is as well. Who is the favorite in this series if KD doesn't return?
Oh, it's Toronto. I mean, I still, again, we can have a different conversation on Monday if Klay Thompson comes back and looks exactly like the Klay Thompson we saw before the injury. But if he is significantly slowed, it's impossible to look at this series and say Toronto isn't the favorite. Now, we discussed this yesterday. I disagree with what Jeff Van Gundy said when he said that this Warriors team wasn't a playoff team, but it certainly isn't a finals team, and it's probably not a team that gets out of the Western Conference as currently constituted. So without Kevin Durant and with a hobbled Klay Thompson, Toronto is a clear favorite in my eyes.
Tonight, what's important is where is Klay? And not only where is he during the game, but even if they're able to win the game, does he have a setback? Is it going to hamper him moving forward? Hamstring injuries do not heal overnight. 2 nights ago, he could not play. Steve Kerr said after the game that if I would have let him play, I would have jeopardized the whole series. Do we think that's not changed in 48 hours? Like there is no miraculous cure for a hamstring. His hamstring is strained. He will go into tonight's competition with it being strained. Can he come out of there? Can he make it through? Can he play 30 minutes? Can he make it through the game? I don't think that he can make it through the game without doing more damage to it. So game number 5, will he be 100%? Game number 6, will he be 100%? Toronto is a better basketball team than them without Kevin Durant. That's why we picked him to be able to win the series, Nick.
All right, so let's talk about it under that lens for now. Let's just, for the sake, because I think everyone at the table is going to agree that if KD doesn't return and if Klay suffers a setback, or if we see Klay and he's 50%, then the Warriors are in enormous trouble. So let's, for the sake of the discussion, let's say these 2 things are true. Klay comes back, plays relatively well, is not the Klay Thompson from before the injury, but looks like, okay, he's a big addition from what they had, and KD does not come back. If that is the parameters, Klay plays adequate, and Kevin Durant is out, do you think the Warriors can win the series? Because I think they can. I think they can win without Kevin Durant. I don't think they have to have KD come back to win this series, but I do think they need Klay Thompson to be as close to pre-hamstring injury as possible. We know what we're getting from Steph. I think Draymond becomes so much more effective the moment Klay's on the court, because what's Draymond's best offensive skill? His playmaking. When he's passing it to Alfonso McKinney, those passes go to die. When he's passing it to Klay Thompson, guys help out on him.
Alfonso McKinney was running 100%. Klay's not going to be 100%. Like, we just think that we getting ready to see Klay, all-star Klay. No, and he's getting ready to remove all the remedies. If I leave Iggy open, I don't care who's on the court. It don't matter if Klay's on the court. If he can't shoot and don't have confidence to be able to shoot, who's gonna be able to take double shots?
No, I agree with you on the Iggy point. Where I think we disagree is what % of Klay Thompson is better than 100% of Alfonso McKinney, than 400% of Jonas Jerebko? Like, what percentage of Klay Thompson do we need for the Warriors to be a better team than they were in game number 3?
Well, I think that question is for the defensive purposes. Like, I think you got to get into the 80s or even low 90s to make Alfonso McKinney not a better option, just because a guy like McKinney or even Quinn Cook can stay in front of somebody defensively. I'm with you. Like, I would rather see 70% of Klay on the offensive end of the floor, but if he's, playing that Dino Raja type style, to use an old name, where he's, scoring 25 but giving up 30, that's problematic for them.
And what about Kevon Looney? When are we going to mention him?
No, the Kevon Looney was something we probably should have talked about more leading into game 3, because that was an enormous part of their defensive liability, was Boogie and Bogut not being able to move their feet.
Right, so this is confidence that I have, Nick. When I didn't think KD was going to play, Jen and I sat down, broke it down, tell it a tape. We came up with Toronto's going to win. That was before Klay strained his hamstring, and that was before they lost their starting center. So that's the confidence that I have after seeing them 12 quarters. You keep repeating it, but obviously you're not listening to what you're saying. They've played 12 quarters. Oh, my buddy over there said how many quarters have they won, Nick?
Toronto's won 10 of the 12.
So what type of confidence would you have? And Klay was on the court for 7 of those quarters predominantly. Yes, so that's the confidence that I have in the Raptors moving forward.
Is tonight a must-win game for Golden State, Chris?
No, not if they can get Kevin Durant back into the lineup, which I grow, like everybody else, more and more skeptical of every single day. You guys talked about this earlier. They are kind of pushing the goalposts back a little bit, saying, well, maybe Game 5 or Game 6. It's getting to the point where there's no practice time. Kevin Durant's not going full 5-on-5 or even 3-on-3 at a high level at this point. It's getting more and more unlikely. But in the hypothetical, if they go down 3-1 and you give Klay 2 full days to rest and he does find a way to get back to close to 100% and Kevin Durant gets on the floor, even at 75%, no matter what, we're not getting the old Kevin Durant back in this series. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to be sharp enough. But it's 75%. We throw a percentage on it. And 190% of Klay, yes, I think Golden State can still come back down 3-1.
In the last 5 years, we have seen Golden State. We witnessed for the first time someone within the Warriors organization say that they're better than us. Even when Cleveland came back from 3-1, you know what their excuse was? Well, Draymond got thrown out. We're better than them. Okay? This is the first time. And Klay, he's the truth teller. He said it. If KD does not come back, what? Oh, this team is better than us. I'm concerned about it. Steve Kerr hadn't said that. Draymond hadn't said that. For the first time, they have legitimate concern because the injuries are happening to them and not the opposition, and they don't have home court.
I think tonight is an absolute must-win for the Warriors. Like, it's odd because you think the Raptors are in control, but that the Warriors could lose this game and potentially still come back.
Just because of their star power.
No,
super star power.
And you're not the only person that believes that thinks, listen, as long as KD comes back, could they win 3 in a row? I do not think Toronto is. If Toronto wins tonight, they will have, to Chris's point, won 7 of 8 games against Milwaukee and Golden State. They will be the healthier team. They will be this close to the greatest moment in franchise history. I don't think that's what's going to follow that up is loss. 2 of those games in Toronto, including a Game 7 at home. I think Golden State can, and I think they still will win the series. But they have to win tonight for that to be a possibility.
Nick is right. He's typically wrong, but he's right about that because you can't rely on being down 3-1 and game number 5 on Monday and think that Kevin Durant, because we have said it's a strained calf. I'm willing to bet money that he's torn part of his calf. That's the reason why he's been out a month. A strained calf, you're healed before a month. He's been out. I believe it's torn. He can't play 3 games at Kevin Durant level in 6 days. All right, because that's what he would have to do. They play on Monday, they play Thursday, and they would play Sunday. If y'all think that, I don't know anything about sports. I don't know anything about the physical body. He's going to play 3 games in those 6 days with a torn calf. I'm talking about NBA Finals level of intensity.
Well, we'll see tonight. Chris, thanks for hanging out today. Take a break coming up. Who's the X factor in tonight's Game 4? Next on First Things First.
Zip it.
What? Boston would have swept.